guys. I don't know about where you are, but here it has been snowing all week. It has been virtual school. It's raining all day today. So like all of our plans for doing sort of active things outside, and because it's raining and then it's cold enough it freezes, and the dog's slipping down the stairs and stuff. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make something for dinner now that takes like 5 hours to cook. And then while all that's happening, I can go and rest and get ready for what is shaping up to be a very busy week. So we're gonna make Sunday gravy. And what is Sunday gravy? It is like the Italian-American version of like bolognese. So we're not making bolognese. Remember, we've done that, and that's just basically mostly meat with some tomato paste and spices and a couple aromatics. Sunday gravy is more like the classical American spaghetti sauce. And it's like, it's a lot more vegetable heavy. It does have meat in it, but not as much. And, we're going to cook it all day. Unlike, with the bolognese, it only takes maybe like an hour to cook. Or, depending on the meats you use and stuff. But, so I have my giant pot, okay? And I'm going to put like 1/4 cup of olive oil in the bottom of that pot, okay? And I'm just eyeballing this because that's the kind of gal I am. And, as you know, I'm sort of a doer. So I'm like, I gotta at least make dinner before I go lie down on my chaise and read. And then I'm also going to put like a couple tablespoons, really more like a table, well, that's a couple, of bacon grease. And that's just kind of, for flavor. And I'm going to start that. I'm going to get that hot. And I realized today, I sort of very diligently cleaned out the fridge before I left to go out of town. So I don't have any celery. I thought I did, but we ate a lot of celery and we had Bloody Marys at Christmas. So, all the celery's been used. So, you don't have to use it, but I'm going to use some celery salt. Because remember, that's just salt and ground up celery. It's not like celery seeds. It's the actual stalk. So I'm going to use some of that. I also have 2 onions chopped up. They're like this size onions, kind of the medium yellow ones. And I'm going to throw those in there now because we just got to get this moving. I also have a cup of chopped up, very finely diced carrots. They're not Chef finely diced. They're Sally finely diced. I'm going to throw those in too. You can also grate them on like a box grater or put them through your food processor or whatever. But so the whole point here is that we're going to get all that stuff to cook down. And it looks like a lot of onions, but remember, what do we do with the onions? Oh, yeah, we're going to put some salt on them. And we're going to make the liquid come out, and that will reduce them in size, right? So I'm going to put like just like a teaspoon of salt on these because there's salt in the bacon grease. And we're also going to be doing some celery salt. And I'm going to use a teaspoon of that too. And I'm just going to go ahead and put that in now. Okay? Celery salt. And the dog is very thirsty. Let's see, what else do we need? We need a spoon. We need a big wooden spoon. I'm going to move all this around. And then, I was going to start this earlier, but, I'd taken my meat out of the freezer and it hadn't quite defrosted overnight. So I had to put it in some water this morning. So that's going to cook down a little bit. And we can talk about the other things while that's happening. Let's see. I am going to use, and again, this is because this is what I have. I haven't really been to the grocery store. We went and bought like milk and some veg and stuff the other day, but I haven't had like the good big long trip without the kids since before Christmas. So we're kind of operating on what's in the freezer and what's non-perishable. So I had a pound of venison and a pound of pork and 2 Italian sausages. So that's what we're going to use for our meats, okay? And you can also chop up some leftover bacon and put that in there. Whatever kind of looks good. The whole purpose, the reason, it's so funny, the Sunday gravy, because, the idea was you cook it while you were at church, right? And then you'd have kind of like a big late lunch after church. I don't know how many of you know this, but my dad was a minister, and in the Protestant situation, if you go past noon, people are mad at you. So sometimes we were able to cook stuff because we were there for Sunday school and coffee hour and church too. But it's not like a good old Italian Catholic 3-hour mass, right? But anyway, all kidding aside, we have we'll eat dinner at 6, and then it'll be great. So these are kind of cooking down. You don't have to get it perfect. We're just trying to kind of wilt them a little bit, get the edge off of them, because this is going to cook for 5 hours, right? So I'm going to go ahead and put our meats in so those can start browning. So yes, I've got this pound of pork. And one of the reasons, I'm using so much fat is that, this venison does not have very much fat at all. Pork does, and the sausages will, but, the ground venison does not. So, if you use kind of fattier meat, you don't have to use quite as much bacon grease and olive oil as I did, okay? And again, remember, like what I said, this is not as meat heavy a sauce as the bolognese. Remember, the bolognese was 5 pounds of meat, and this is 2.5. We're really 2 1/4. Okay, so it's more of a veg heavy sauce. No, Winston, no. My poor dog, he's like tripping and falling down the back stairs because it's in a northwest corner. So I'm just kind of like squeezing the meat out of the casings of these sausages, and then I will wash my hands, and that's something to remember. Don't touch the handles of your things with your dirty hands. Let's see. Let's hope we can get through this in 14 minutes, 15 minutes. All right, I'm gonna wash my hands because they have, Sorry, Winston. You gotta cool it, buddy. Am I loud, sink? Okay, so I am going to break all this meat up, and I am cooking this pretty fast at this point because it's it's just kind of a big pan, a big pot. And if you don't get this meat totally smushed up as much as perfectly granulated, that's okay, because there's going to be a lot of liquid in here. And the liquid is going to help granulate that meat. Just like, in that kind of like end stage of taco meat where you have to add like the 3/4 of a cup of water. Okay, so I'm going to show you this. That's what that looks like now. I'm just going to work on getting that brown. And while that's browning, I'm going to add spices to it. Okay, just like when we do chili. Now, I'm sort of low on my French 4-spice. What is that? That's white pepper, nutmeg, ginger, and cloves. I'm going to add, I don't know. Where'd my teaspoon go? I'm going to add about a teaspoon of that. I'll probably do 2. I used a lot of this in the rillettes the other day. I'll do 2. And then we're also going to use, because it's winter. If it were not winter, I would be getting stuff out of my garden. But even the stuff that kind of made it up to this point has snow all over it. So I'm going to do like a 1/2 teaspoon of ground rosemary. And more like a tablespoon of oregano. Okay. And 1/2 teaspoon of ground savory. And a teaspoon of, maybe a 1/2 teaspoon. A teaspoon of marjoram. Okay, I'm gonna give that another quick stir and keep breaking up the meats. Now, this is the point at which we just start kind of dumping stuff in. It's, as I said, like the meat's still not super broken up, and I'll probably get in there and attack it a little bit more once we're off camera. But for now, because we're at 10 minutes, I wanted to kind of show you what we need to do now. Let me put the tops back on these herbs so they don't get stuff in them. I am now going to add 2 cups of wine, and it's going to seem like a lot of liquid, but that's because we're going to cook it for 5 hours, okay? So this is actually 1 3/4 cups of red wine, and then 1/4 cup of sweet vermouth. And why did I add the sweet vermouth? Well, a lot of people add sugar to their spaghetti sauce, but I don't do that. It does kind of add a little bit of, you know, a little more richness to the sauce to have a little vermouth in there. And use something that's not too heavy, not like a really sweet Zinfandel, you guys. Use something that's kind of more, I don't know how to put this, more Italian. No. Now I also have about 1 cup of chicken stock, and to that I'm going to add 3 cups of beef broth. I'm going to use the last cup. Oh shoot. Well, I have to use my knife for an unauthorized purpose because that little tab got stuck. I'm going to use the rest of it to make like a bolognese later this week because I'm kind of craving steak bolognese and mashed potatoes. So yeah, we want 1 quart of stock in this, you guys. And again, it's because we are cooking this for a very long time. And it is going to cook down, I promise. Okay? 1 quart of stock. You can use chicken stock or beef stock, or a combination of both, the way that I did. I just had some leftover chicken stock that I had used in something else. And then I can use the rest of this beef stock in something else later. You know, I'm kind of always trying to use stuff up and move it around. Now, kind of the last thing we're going to do together is the tomatoes. I have 2 of the big cans of like the diced, or no, these are crushed tomatoes. Pour that in. And I got that tomato all over my hand. But that's not the end of the world. Oh shoot, you know what I didn't add? This is what we're gonna do with that. I forgot about my garlic. Which, you know, you want a good like 6-8 cloves of garlic in this. So what you can do for that, if you forget to add your garlic at the beginning, you can add it in whole, though I like to saute it first. All right, let me rinse my hand with, let me rinse my hand. But the other thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna add mushrooms sort of about 4 hours in. I'm going to saute the mushrooms, maybe actually with the garlic, that would be kind of good. And then we'll add it all at the end and cook those for an hour together. Okay, now the last thing I'm gonna add here is a can of tomato paste. And I'm just like looking around, make sure. Yeah, I think that's it. I'll get a small spatula. These are better for the small cans. Little tiny spatula. Almost at 14 minutes, you guys. Now, this is kind of the end of the active portion for the next 4 hours, okay? Oh, and actually, we're gonna add 2 bay leaves, maybe 3. It's a big pot. We'll do 2. This is the end of the active portion. Okay, we're gonna get this all stirred up together. We're gonna maybe attack these pieces of sausage a little more that kind of seized up. And because, you know, I mean, the pork has more connective tissue because they kind of grind it up with, you know, the fat and the collagen are all right next to each other. And whereas, like, you know, some other things like this venison is probably just muscle, right? Anyway, that's kind of it. And then after, you know, check on this, stir it, give it a little love. And then after 4 hours, do like a package of mushrooms in some garlic and butter and add them, and, you know, bon appetit. I'll see you soon. Bye.